Athenaeum. It's Mr. Carlos coming to you from Archway Veritas with another lesson for you all about Sir Isaac Newton. So let's get started. Have you ever heard of the excuse, my dog ate my homework? People sometimes say this when they have been absent-minded and misplaced something important, or perhaps when they've been lazy and not completed something they knew they were supposed to do. While dogs can sometimes be mischievous, as we will hear today, they don't often consume important papers. Have you ever heard of Isaac Newton? He was a famous scientist from the 17th century who made some of the world's most important discoveries about light and gravity and motion, and the way the world around us works. His most famous work was called Philosophiae Naturalis Principii Mathematica. Wow, try saying that 5 times fast. That was tough for me. That means the mathematical principles of natural philosophy. There, that's easier, isn't it? This was a great and amazing work of scientific discovery, but Newton almost lost it all. We often witness great virtues in the lives of those whose intelligence and skill make them memorable. One of those virtues is certainly perseverance. As I read to you today about Sir Isaac Newton, consider what other virtues he's displayed in his life. You can type your answers in the comments below as I read or write them down as you think of them. This biography of Newton was written by the famous author Nathaniel Hawthorne. Sir Isaac Newton by Nathaniel Hawthorne, adapted by Jenna Thompson. In January of 1643, Isaac Newton was born at the small village of Woolsthorpe, England. Little did his mother think, when she held her newborn baby, that he was destined to explain many wonders of the universe, which had been a mystery ever since the creation of the world. After Isaac's father died, Mrs. Newton left her son to the care of his good old grandmother, who was very kind to him and sent him to school. In his early years, Isaac did not appear to be a very bright scholar, but was chiefly remarkable for his cleverness in mechanics. He had a set of little tools and saws of various sizes, which he himself made. With the aid of these, Isaac contrived to make many curious articles, and he worked with so much skill that he seemed to have been born with a saw or chisel in his hand. Isaac possessed a wonderful ability to acquire knowledge by the simplest means. He built a water clock, a sundial, and a windmill just by working out in his mind what could make them work. Even in his boyish activities, he was continually searching out the secrets of philosophy. As Isaac grew older, it was found that he had many important matters in his mind. All day long, if left to himself, he was either absorbed in thought or engaged in some book of mathematics or natural philosophy. At night, I think it probable, he looked up with awe and curiosity to the stars and wondered whether there were worlds like our own. How great was their distance from the earth, and what was the power that kept them in their courses? Perhaps, even at such a young age, Isaac Newton felt an inclination that he would one day be able to answer all of these questions. Now, my story would be far too long if I were to mention all the splendid discoveries he made once he came to be a man. He was the first that found out the nature of light. Before his time, nobody could tell what the sunshine was composed of. You remember, I suppose, the story of an apple's falling on his head. This led him to discover the force of gravity, which keeps heavenly bodies in their courses. When he had once got hold of this idea, he never permitted his mind to rest until he had searched out all the laws that guide the planets through the skies. This he did as thoroughly as he had gone up among the stars and tracked them himself. The boy had found out the mechanism of clocks and windmills. The man explained the mechanism of the universe. While studying these wonders, he was accustomed to spend night after night in a lofty tower, gazing at the heavenly bodies through a telescope. His mind was lifted far above the things of this world. It may even be said that he spent the greater part of his life in worlds that lie thousands and millions of miles away. For where the thoughts and the heart are, there is our true existence. Now I will tell you a story about Newton and his little dog Diamond. One day when he was 50 years old and had been hard at work for more than 20 years studying the theory of light, he went out of his chamber to answer the door, leaving his little dog asleep before the fire. On the table lay a heap of manuscript papers that contained all the discoveries which Newton had made during those 20 years. When his master was gone, up rose the little playful diamond, jumped upon the table, and overthrew the lighted candle. The papers immediately caught fire. Just as the destruction was completed, Newton opened the chamber door and saw that his work of 20 years was now reduced to a heap of ashes. There stood little Diamond, the author of all the mischief. Almost any other man would have been very angry at the dog and removed him from their home. But Newton patted him on his head with his usual kindness, although his heart was filled with grief. "Oh, Diamond, Diamond," he exclaimed, "you little know the mischief you have done." This accident affected Newton's health and his spirits for some time afterwards. He was very sad over all his lost work, but from his conduct towards the little dog, you may judge what the sweetness of his temper. Newton lived to be a very old man, and acquired great fame. He was made a member of Parliament, and received the honor of knighthood from the king. He cared little for earthly fame and honors, however, and felt no pride in the greatness of his knowledge. All that he had learned only made him feel how little he knew in comparison to what remained to be known. "I seem to myself like a child," he observed, "playing on the seashore and picking up here and there a curious shell or a pretty pebble, while the boundless ocean of truth lies undiscovered before me." Sir Isaac Newton lived to be an old man, passing away at the age of 85. He has left a fame behind him which will be as endurable as if his name were written in the letters of light formed by the stars upon the midnight sky. Did you notice any virtues in Sir Isaac Newton? I witnessed humility, perseverance, courage, and even friendship towards his mischievous little pup. Did you see any others? Which one stood out to you the most? There is so much to witness and wonder at that we should always keep our hearts humble and our eyes open to new things we get to discover each and every day. If hearing about Isaac Newton inspired you to want a fun way to test the theory of gravity, make some paper spinners, and I'll show you how. All you need is paper, scissors, and a paper clip. So with the piece of paper and the scissors, you'll want to cut out a rectangle. Now, you can color your piece of paper however you want, put little designs on it. You can make it bigger or smaller, however you desire. I have found that the smaller rectangles work a lot better to test out gravity. But again, it's always up to science, so you can try any way you like. From there, what you will do is you will cut along this side, almost to the top. So you got to make sure you stop right at the top. So it gives you a little piece like this. And after cutting up to here, making sure it's still connected right up here, you're going to flip it around. You will take your scissors, and you will go a little bit space over, and you will cut right there. Doing the same thing to where we don't cut all the way to the top. And it should look like this. Once you have it here, you're going to want to flip it like this. Put the two ends that you cut together, like that. And you'll kind of have a little triangle almost. Let me move my hand out of the way. A little triangle. You want to take your paper clip, the one paper clip, and you'll go ahead and attach it to the top. And now, we have our little spinners that we can try out. So, let's test them out. So this is going to be test number 1. What you want to do is make sure your paper clip is on the bottom. Otherwise, it won't fly right. And this is going to be our very first, and you want to hold it like this, almost like the upside down triangle. And this is going to be our very first test of it, so let's see how it goes. I'm going to hold it up high. Test number 2. So I think my test of the spinners went really well. One thing I did notice that I wanted to let you guys know about. When you cut the piece of paper, you will want to make sure that all 3 pieces are similar in size. I had one side too big and it didn't fly as beautifully as mine did in the test that you saw. So I had to adjust it and cut it up a little bit. And then take a look, make sure that you're holding it up like this when you drop it, and then it'll spin down for you. If you're able to get heavier paper, you can add a heavier weight as well to it. It'll change up how it flies. Thanks for watching my spinner lesson. I hope you guys had fun, and I hope you have a lot of fun with the spinners. If you have any questions or comments, or you want to send me the video of your spinner, go ahead and send it on over, and I'll be happy to watch. Thanks.